Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Grace and today I would like to talk about a very common YA book that a lot of people have been reading and talking about on BookTube that I have some issues with. So I'd like to jump into the details without further ado. This is A Court of Thorns and Roses review. I need a drink after reading this. Holy shit. Ooh, this is gonna get a lot of people mad, but that's okay. What I think about the Court of Thorns and Roses book by Sarah J Maas. This is a very, very popular YA fantasy book that has been out for a long time, and a lot of people have been talking about it. There's a lot of controversy surrounding it, so I just want to add my useless, pointless opinion to the mixing pot that is the BookTube community. And see what people want to have to say about it. So here we go. It's a very, very blatant Beauty and the Beast retelling, but lacks any of the substance that the original story could have had. I did like the trials aspect of the book, if I remember correctly. I read this like months ago. But I did like that Feyre had to go through like the trials, but they did seem very, very easy to me, and almost like luck had more to do with it than her actually being talented, if that makes sense. So I was a bit disappointed that everything flew by really quick, and the challenges seemed like super duper easy. I'm not sure if that's just me being a little older than the characters in the book at the time. Like, I'm not the demographic, obviously. But, yeah, for me it just felt like a way too easy and way too quick. And the final riddle, what the hell was that? It was love? Are you serious? Like, I knew that from the first time she ever said it. As soon as it was brought up, I was like, it's gotta be love. It's gonna be easy as hell. Like, come on. This is the whole focus of the story. Of course that's what it's gonna be. But it wasn't. It took her forever. Like, literally someone dying before she figured it out. Like, girl, what you doing? Okay, so I've got notes up on my computer, so I'm just going to go through them one by one, and then we'll see what we want to say about it. The thing I've noticed with Sarah J Maas's writing, particularly with Throne of Glass, Crescent City, and now A Court of Thorns and Roses being the most recent one I've read of hers, she seems to use female and male as nouns and verbs as well, like way, way too often. Like, if I had a drink every single time she said female or male used in this book, by chapter 2 I would probably be dead. It's used way, way, way too often as nouns and verbs, and it's distracting, and it's also kind of gross. It makes me feel a bit icky rather than using like pronouns like he, she, her, they, like the person, the fairy. Like, don't just use female and male. It makes it seem like very predatory in a weird way. Feyre, I did like her more than Selena from Throne of Glass. I know that's a controversial opinion. A lot of people like Selena because she's a badass assassin, but I find Selena unbearably arrogant, so I was pleasantly surprised by Feyre, but that also makes her useless as hell because she can't do anything, basically, without a man holding her hand, so I was a bit disappointed on that end as well. How to write good female characters? We don't know. I want to say, I know people say that later on in this series that Tamlin ends up doing like a 180 in character, and that would be unfortunate to me because I really, really like Tamlin in this book. Tamlin, not Tamlin. Tamlin. I thought he was nice. I thought he was like reasonable for what he was asking, and he didn't even ask her to do anything. Like, he just said, stay within this massive mansion, like, because there are fairies outside who will kill you, and you don't have any weapons with you. Like, maybe just be precautious. That's pretty much all he did, and I know he was useless, but I mean, apart from that, I think he was fine. He reminded me a little bit of Peter, like, in that he's nice, but he's also useless at times, so I don't know. I thought it was fine. Feyre kept saying how handsome, he is. I'm like, how can you tell? He's got a mask on. She get Tamlin because I like the silent types, but Rhysand loves to monologue. Holy moly, oh my god. The amount of times he stopped and talked about, like, nothing for, like, 4 whole pages, I was about to, like, cry. I was about to break down and go, shut up. Like, I wanted to skip. I just went blah, 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 blah. I don't want to hear Rhysand talking anymore. I'm over it. I just hate Rhysand. His attitude. I don't like how he's supposed to be like the Darkling in a way. Like, he's supposed to be like dark and sexy because I've had a bad past and I'm traumatized from something vague. I'm over it. Stop. Bad boys don't appeal to me anymore unless it's Kaz. Sarah J Maas has like weird flowery language where she does a lot of metaphors and then does like really vague descriptions of everything else. Like, I don't know, it was okay. It was fine. I mean, there's not that much in fairy to describe anyway, because it's like a dark cell or a rich mansion, and that's it. There's really only two things. Apart from a forest around the mansion, there's really nothing else to describe, because fairy's only in 3 locations, basically, the whole time. I read A Court of Thorns and Roses before Cruel Prince, and I liked Cruel Prince way better. I don't know if that's because I like Carden more than Rhysand, or if it's because the writing was better, but I think it was the writing was better. It was the main plot point for that. I definitely like the world of Cruel Prince more as a fairy world more than this one. This one seems really boring and dull. You know, I don't know. That's just me. I read a bit of high fantasy, so I have high expectations, I guess. We're talking about locations and about the finale of this. I just want to preface this first because I'm going to get into some other stuff I really hate. I did like the final setup, but Amarantha as a villain is really both stupid and really annoying. So she's really dumb because she gives Feyre this massive time span of like weeks to do these 3 challenges, which is really dumb. You know, if you were trying to succeed, just give them like back to back to back. Don't spread it out over weeks where she has opportunity to strike deals with people and like manipulate and like plan her escape or whatever. Like, it just bang it out. But you know, I guess we gotta wait for this stupid solstice or whatever the big deal was. And yeah, and the riddle was so easy. Come on, like, it's a 4-letter word. Are you serious? Make it a little harder. Make the anti-establishmentarianism, you know, because then you'd be like, oh man, I don't know that word. Damn, like, wish I could have known that. That's so hard. Make it something, you know, the hero doesn't guess on the first try. If your readers can guess it before the character can, usually by the first time it's mentioned, there's usually a problem there. So let's get into the stuff that I really, really hated, because I said I didn't really like a lot of this book, and that is correct. I think I rated it like 1 or 2 stars, and that's generous on my Goodreads. I really, really wasn't a fan of this book, and the reason of that is because the romance takes up the like entire plot. There is no other plot. There is none. There is none, and that annoys me when I'm reading, because I want the plot. I don't want romance. If I wanted romance, I'd go read erotica. I'm not here to read erotica. Like, I'm here for YA fantasy. First thing I want to say, with fairies, it seems that we have a common trait with Cruel Prince, in that fairy lore nowadays seems to be they either have wings or they have like a weird animalistic like trait or like body part or something. Like fairies in this universe, it's like pointy ears and whatever, but you know, in the Cruel Prince, like Carden has a tail for some reason. I'm like, okay, I guess we're rolling with it. Not really sure why that was in there. But this one, it seems to be a lot of like weird, I don't know, it's like as if like someone who writes like ABO fan fiction like decided to write the Smut scenes. There's a lot of like weird like growling and snarling and like weird stuff going on between like whenever 2 guys are in the same room together, like they seem to want to face off for no reason. Like, can you calm down? Like, can you stop? We need to be mature, and I'm not really here for the immature attitude, so I was a bit bummed out. I'm like, oh, here we go again. It's going to be the 5th testosterone fight of the day, you know? After the saucy bits, there were only really, I think there were 2 in this book. There was like 1 that was referenced and 1 that was there. I felt like I needed to take a shower because it was very descriptive, and it was also very vague at the same time. She uses weird language to say what she's trying to get across, but it sounds like a 13-year-old fan fiction writer. No offense if you do write fan fiction, a lot of it's good, but you know, this is like 13-year-old Wattpad like cringe, you know, in self-insert type of fan fiction I'm talking about. Holy moly. So I'm going to talk about something that is very controversial, and I just want to put up a disclaimer that I will be talking about referencing like assault and consent in sexual situations. So if that triggers you at all, like, please just either click off this video or mute me or skip me like 5 minutes ahead or something. Please just skip it towards the end of the video. I'm going to be talking about it, so yeah, just a heads up. So there's a scene in this book that I think a lot of people have like mentioned but not specifically talked about in detail, unless I'm wrong. Please link me to someone if they have talked about it. I would love to hear their opinion as well. But this is going towards, there's a scene where Rhysand makes a deal with Feyre that he can heal her arm. I think her arm's broken or injured or something. If he can get her to join him at his court for like 1 night a week, or 1 week a month. I think it's 1 week a month. 1 week a month for like the rest of her life or something. I don't know why she takes this deal. It's really dumb, but she does anyway. So she ends up basically, it's implied that he like gives her some sort of drink that drugs her out. So she basically like looks like she's been lobotomized. And like basically like gropes her and tries to like pimp her out to other people at this court. Like he makes her like sit on his lap and stuff and like gropes her out and like dances with her and whatever, and she cannot remember anything the next day. That is so disturbing and disgusting. I was in shock that this was in a young adult book. Stuff happens in real life, and to see it so blatantly like romanticized in a YA, I was very, very concerned. And even more so that people say in like later books that Rhysand is the main love interest of Feyre and that they are like a really good couple together. And I'm like, hold on, did we just forget about this whole thing where he like almost pimps her out to people and like makes her dance in front of him with like sheer clothing on without her consent? Are you serious? So yeah, that was very disturbing, and I'm not here for it. That's not what we do here. I'm not here for consent is number one, and that is so important for young people especially to be learning about and reading, and that's disturbing all on its own. Secondly, the fact that he is like manipulating her, basically buying her out, and thirdly giving her skimpy outfits and like just touching her without her consent and touching her in inappropriate ways. That is disgusting, and I was revolted and I want to throw up in my mouth multiple times. So I just want to say that's my opinion on that. I found it very disgusting, and if anyone else has like another opinion about it, I would love to hear. So that was a really long rant. I apologize. Last thing I want to say about this book, although I didn't really like either of the love interests that much, and I didn't like the plot because there was none, and the sex scenes were gross and everything else, that's okay. It's written like fan fiction, but what can I expect? But I will say, I was a bit confused at the ending. Feyre kills 2 Fae. She has to kill 2 of these Fae people to solve the stupid riddle, and then she gets to Tamlin, doesn't kill Tamlin, defeats Amarantha and such, and because Tamlin is like the prince of his court, he like literally has the authority to turn her into a high Fae. I'm sorry? Did I miss something? Like, she murdered 2 Fae people in front of you and tried to kill another High Prince. Like, and no one tried to, like, take a swing at Amarantha through that whole monologue she was doing. No one tried to throw a knife at her or spell her or nothing. And then that whole time, you saw her murder 2 people and try to kill Tamlin, and you let her be High Fae with no repercussions? In this economy, y'all out here wildin'. That's all I can say. This judicial system is lacking. That's all I have to say about that. That was a very long video, and I apologize. But that is it from me, from A Court of Thorns and Roses. I will not be reading any more Sarah J Maas books unless I have a knife to my throat, and I will not be reviewing any of her other books because they are trash. I have a Crescent City review, of course, if you'd like to check that out on my channel. But other than that, I will not be reading any more Throne of Glass books, any more Court of Thorns and Roses. I had enough for one book, definitely, and I want to bleach my eyeballs. So yeah, I've had enough. If you'd like to check out my other videos, please click my channel link in the description. Like, share, subscribe if you're new and you liked my content, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!